One final thing here, and then I'm going to let you talk about anything else you want to talk about.
Okay.
Going to court. I mean, I guess few people have picked this up that I've said friends never let friends go to anti-family court alone.
Right?
Do you agree with that?
I agree. I think that it's been easier on YouTube. It's been easier to watch, or it's been easier to help because then I can talk. And some people have reached out to me just because of the platform that we have on social media, which is great. I think it's a great tool for anybody who's going through it, whether you're doing it for the right reasons or we're doing it for the wrong reasons. Either way, it's a tool, right? And we all need tools. But whenever I went to one in person of a guy that I thought that he was having a shit show of a day in court, and his attorney was not fighting the way it should.
Right.
And I reached out to him and I said, hey, you need to talk to him about this. Well, when he talked to him, oh, we don't want to argue that. Well, why don't we argue? Well, the judge isn't going to make any ruling on that. But it's a lawful reason why we can argue it. Well, yeah, but we're not going to do that. So I showed up in that courtroom, and when I showed up, this counselor didn't want to come in the courthouse because she knew I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So when they started objecting to a lot of the things she was doing, she had no recourse.
Yeah.
Just my presence to help him sprung his attorney, which I could shake his hand, sprung his attorney to start going, you're the guy, I'm the guy. I now know what you're talking about. I now understand what we're going through and doing.
Yeah.
She's gone. She's no longer a part of the case because of this. Beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think that's an awesome thing. If nothing else, to sit there and go, man, I'm here.
Yeah.
If you want to, we take a recess or whatever, you want to walk out there, you want to have a cigarette, you want to yell, you want to holler, I'm here. I'm going to give you some feedback where you can go from there. And if you want to use it, you can use it. And that's what my friends did early on. The jury trial was a little bit different because they were testifying, so they really couldn't do that. But in the hearings early on that they weren't testifying in, dude, they took notes. They were able to come to me and say, hey, I don't know if you caught this, but this is what happened. I was able to make a record later on doing it a certain way, but I was able to make that record. And it is a hard gig, right? So when you say talk about anything, it is a hard gig to sit there, go through all these files or all your evidence to know where it needs to be placed, how you're going to ask it. Then you got to give it to a judge and whether he's going to allow it or not.
Yeah.
They're going to have an objection. How do I get that's one thing an attorney is able to do, is to pull away from the emotional attached to it because they're not emotionally attached. My former attorney could tell me he's emotionally attached all day. He wasn't emotionally attached. You know who he got to go home to? To his kids.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So when it came down to that's the benefit of a lawyer. They can emotionally get away from it. But the problem is, and they're going to tell you, is write it down. Don't interrupt me. I'm trying to listen. This is not an easy thing. And I'm sure your friend from Pennsylvania, right, is probably part of it. You don't want to keep nudging them. Hey, he's not, that's not true. That's not, they want to be able to listen because they have to give an argument.
Yeah.
If you don't argue against it, then the court assumes it's a fact.
Yeah. So
moving forward with any of this stuff for a lot of your viewers is that you got to know your case. If you're not vested in looking at the law to some degree, whether that's the rules of evidence, rules of civil procedure, family code, whatever that may be, even whenever these child custody evaluators, ad litems, what's their role, what's their duty, then you're never going to go anywhere.
Right.
You will lose everything. And you also have to remember, even if you know as much as what we may about what we've dealt with, you could still lose it. Mm-hmm. Because they hate somebody who rocks the boat.
Yeah.
They hate it. And the only reason why, a part of the reason why I can't, and I despise the judge that we're at, is that if he would have just followed the law, I would have my daughter.
Yeah.
Whether I'm a criminal in his mind or not, if you follow the law, I would have my daughter.
Yeah.
But he didn't follow the law, and he took her away. And that's the part that is hard for any parent to swallow.
So you talking about the judge took your daughter away. And I went to a case in Collin County. It's in Judge Piper McGraw's court.
Okay.
I had gone in there for a friend earlier, so evidently they kind of remembered me because when they stuck me up on the stand, the opposing counsel, even though he was a very highly paid opposing counsel attorney, he didn't do very well against me.
No.
And my friend's attorney even was chuckling about the whole thing. He's like, pass the witness. Just let it go. But then I went in a second time for another person. And before this person was able to get into court, I thought, well, as long as I'm up here, I might as well go inside again. And there was a guy in there, and he's fighting for his children because his wife wanted a divorce. She just wanted to leave. But in the wife's opinion, it was best for the children to be placed with a foster family. This was in the best interest of the children. And the CPS was arguing for the mother.
For foster care.
For foster care. And and it was, and I was in there watching, and at the first, when they came out or something, because they didn't give the ruling that day, but this is the coat that I wore. The man in the burgundy jacket is what they called me. And but there were two people that were sitting in there, and they said, the judge gave the father the children, and they said, the reason the judge did that is because she saw you sitting in there. Because the first time that I had gone in there, I'd just say that, you know, the opposing counsel was not ready for everything that took place. That's all I can say. And,
there you go.
And that, you know, and he was, even though he was a Kunstfuller, crooked law attorney, everything else, got creamed.
Yeah.
And but there were a number of things that I said specifically for the judge, and the judge heard. You could see it sometimes her eyes kind of like this, like, oh
you
no.
You just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, they said the judge saw you there. Now I don't know if that's the case. I can't say this one way or another. But
you'd like to believe it.
You know what? We take it as a victory.
There you go. And you know the thing about it, if the roles would have been flipped and it would have been the father that said that they need to go to foster care and it went to the mother, it's for the best of the child.